Welcome to episode 3 of the Buckle Up podcast, an ultra running conversation. In this episode, our guest is Melissa Perez. Melissa Perez is a dedicated ultramarathoner hailing from Central California. She's been participating in ultramarathons since 2019. She has achieved notable finishes at events such as Sean O'Brien 50 miler, Leonna Divide 100 kilometer, Born to Run Ultras, and Kodiak 100 mile. In 2023, Melissa accomplished the Leadville 100 and Moab 240 just 7 weeks apart. Apart from her impressive athletic feats, Melissa is the proud owner of La Direction, where she coaches endurance athletes to reach their aspirations. Additionally, she has established a supportive community called Chingonas on the Run, aimed at empowering female athletes from various backgrounds. Melissa passionately discusses the unique challenges faced by women of diverse backgrounds in the realm of sports. Additionally, we delve into topics like post-event recovery, the importance of socks and foot care, and address queries from the athletes in the Coach's Corner. Thanks for listening. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Buckle Up with Brian and Simon. Actually, it says Simon and Brian, and here's Simon.
Hey, guys. Welcome back. Brian, how are your knees?
My knees are well. Actually, I just went for a run, an interval run, and they were like extremely well. Like it was a really good run. So I feel pretty good.
Despite your age?
Despite my age, it's
okay.
we're all a day older today, right,
That's
Simon?
True.
And
a
your
few
knees?
more hours though.
And your knees, Simon?
Oh, yeah, banged up. I had a race last weekend, so it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm still alive.
Hey, welcome back to our ultra running conversation. That's kind of the basis of this podcast. It's an open-ended conversation. And today we have another guest, a new one to us, Melissa Perez. Melissa Perez is an ultra marathoner from Northern California. Are you from Northern California?
More like the Central Coast, but that's right.
Central Coastal California is what I meant. She's completed in ultras since 2019 with finishes at Sean O'Brien 50 miler, Leonna Divide 100K, Born to Run Ultras. I think you've done that twice. Did I see that on Ultra Sign Up?
Yes, correct.
And Kodiak 100. And just last year in 2023, Melissa completed the Leadville 100 and Moab 240 just 7 weeks apart, which is a huge feat in itself. Melissa is the owner of La Direction and coaches endurance athletes to their goals. She's also been building a community with Chingonas on the Run. It's a group created to support female athletes from diverse backgrounds. Welcome to the show, Melissa.
Thank you for having me. I wish I had my cowbell to ring, but I think it might be too echoey.
So you are all over social media, and there's a couple quirky things. Maybe quirky is not the word, but a couple unique traits that you have. One is the cowbell.
Yes.
The other one is Rebel. We all know Rebel. And is Rebel in the room or no?
No, I shut him out.
Okay, Rebel's the dog. And
I thought I was the husband. I'm disappointed.
That'd be a cool name.
I shut him out too.
I almost think I should start calling myself Rebel. Rebel. Anyway, but those are a couple of things that I see all over your social media and Chingonas on the Run. So any of those three topics to start with, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you found yourself in this ultra running community, in this space, and we'll go from there.
All right. So I am from Central California, as you mentioned. I grew up in an area called the Salad Bowl. It is known for its vast agriculture production and its farming and its vast population and immigrants or Mexicans, Oaxacans. Fast forward, yes. I always say that I'm ringing my cowbell for you because I feel like cowbell makes everything better. And every time you feel like you're hopeless, you hear that sound of that cowbell and it's like, oh my gosh, like the heavens are opening up and there is pizza being delivered to you at your door. Kind of that's how I feel about cowbell. And I also feel that way about pizza. And Rebel.
Pizza.
And Rebel is he's my little pup. He's my little trail pup. He seems to bring all of the laughs and smiles to many people. Last time I was on a trail run, a group of girls were like, "Oh my God, I know you." And I thought they were talking about me. They're like, "You're Rebel." And I was like, definitely not talking about me. I'm just the person that holds the camera. Another instance, Rebel and I were running on a local trail, and this guy who he wasn't even a runner, he's just like a hiker, and he has his little Cocker Spaniel with him. And as we're running, both of our dogs are off leashes, and as we're running past, the guy is like, "Rebel, long time no see." And I was like, "Hi, thank you. I am Rebel's mommy." Okay. Yeah, what was the other question? I got lost in talking about Rebel.
Well, that's great. A question about Rebel. What kind of dog is Rebel?
He's a surprise. He's a rescue. All I know is that the mom is a terrier.
Mhm.
And at the time of his rescue, I got him as a puppy, and the mom was like a 7-pound terrier, little dog. And so we didn't really know how big he was going to get. My partner was just very firm on, I don't want a small dog. I mean, I didn't do a very good job at imitating his voice, but he was very firm on not wanting a small dog. And Rebel is now a hefty 50 pounds, I would say, medium-sized dog, and he is definitely a troublemaker, and he's a terrier of some magical sorts.
Having met Mike on one or two occasions, I feel like that was a great depiction of Mike's.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So I'm curious. Sorry, you run with Rebel a lot?
I run with him. The most miles I do with him is like 10 miles.
That's a lot.
I haven't gone anything over than 10, and that's maybe like 4 times a week.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, the dog we had when I was a kid would not do more than a mile, I think. I'm pretty sure. And she was too excited. She would kind of run around us. So probably she does 10 miles while we do 1. But yeah, there's no way she had the patience to do any of that.
I've always wanted to like take my Garmin and, you know, attach it to his leash, or not his leash, but his collar, so it could track like his miles. Especially because I know he's doing more than what I'm doing. And exactly like you're saying, Simon, it's like he'll like run circles around me and then just like kind of go on his merry way. However, I don't want to like get all the slack from people that are like, "Hey, you stole my crown, but that was your dog." So I don't also want to like destroy my Strava stats with with trying to figure out how many miles my dog is running. So
he just needs his own like online personality. I mean, not that he doesn't have one already, apparently, because people know who he is. But I don't think you've got to the level yet of Rebel's own Facebook page or Instagram page or Strava page.
I'm not gonna get to that. I don't have
Perfect.
patience to manage a Instagram account for my dog. I can only manage one person, and that's myself.
Yeah, and that's a lot of work. I mean, from my own perspective of myself, that's a lot of work. I get it. How about Chingonas on the Run? Can you tell us a little bit about that? How it kicked off, how you started it, what was the need, where did it come from, what kind of space was it that you were trying to create, and how's it going?
So me and another Latina coach in my area co-founded, we founded Chingonas on the Run. She has a podcast, and her podcast is called She Runs Trails. And I was a guest on her podcast. Turns out that we had more similarities than we even knew. She knew that I was on a mission from her podcast, that I was on a mission to get more women, especially women of color, on trail. and she was on a mission to kind of do the same. So we kind of put our beautiful brains together, and we started hosting runs. Last year we celebrated a year of Chingonas on the Run, and since that year, I think we've like so much has happened in terms of our growth and our numbers. We have about, I mean, sometimes 12 to 15 women that show up to our runs. Our runs are held on every other Wednesdays. Right now we're on a winter break due to the time change here in California. And I hate to say this, and I'm saying this on live air or on the internet, that will live forever, but sometimes people don't listen, and they don't bring a headlamp, and so it could also become very dangerous if you're running with only your cell phone light or a flashlight. So until we can have responsibility, right now we just do from the spring to the last day the time changes, and that's it. We're a community that's here and trying to provide opportunity for women. And within our Chingonas on the Run, we have founded what's called the Chingona Collective. And we have been taking in gently used shoes, vests, clothes, so that we can distribute them and redistribute these used items within our community so that we can give back and again provide opportunity for women who like don't have the means to buy a new vest or don't have the means to keep going and purchasing and repurchasing shoes till they find the right one. So we've gotten quite a few donations, and it's been very rewarding is not even like the right word to describe how I feel. So we're growing. And yeah, well, our runs will start back up in March. I believe it's third week of March. So
cool. I mean, that's a really nice mission. I think the point you about the used equipment also, when someone is starting or just kind of testing the water a little bit, it's hard to say, okay, I'm going to buy running shoes, I'm going to buy a vest, I'm going to buy everything. You don't even know if you like it. And I think that's really nice that you can help that, and that will just put people into the sport, and then they can find the means. But I think it's a beautiful goal.
Thank you. Especially because like I hate when people say that like, oh, running is so simple. You just put on a pair of shoes and go. But if you want to progress in, the discipline of running, then what comes with that? More shoe rotations, a sports bra, a pair of socks, because we know like good socks aren't cheap. An entry fee, right? Like you want to keep something that's going to monitor your growth. So you sign up for a race. So in the end, like running, the exercise, the movement of running is simple, right? It's just moving your body forward. But when you start calculating everything, it's really not that simple, especially something like trail running.
Definitely. I think all three of us have experienced like triathlon, Ironman distance stuff, and that's a whole different level. Where I'm going with this is that yes, running is a little more accessible, but still has its own challenges. You're exactly right. It doesn't make it cheap by any means. Shoes are I think around $200 a piece right now. I mean, inflation and the market and the drive for the new greatest shoes, $200 is not chump change. I mean, that's a significant amount to have a pair of shoes, never mind two, because you want to kind of get some in the rotation or anything along that line. So yeah, what a great mission, what a great cause. I knew a little bit about it, but I didn't even know half the stuff that you're doing. So that's really impressive.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
And what do you think that are the barrier to get more women of diverse background into running? Because it's clear. Look, I mean, I look the way I look, so like I do realize that there's a lot of people like me. But yeah, curious to hear it from your perspective.
Well, I think it's several things, and I think two of the biggest things is like if you don't see anybody doing it, then you don't know anything about it. Another thing is like I grew up in Hispanic. I don't want to say the word Hispanic. God, I'm sorry. In a Mexican household, And the values of women and where our priorities should be were very different in terms of like what my brother should be doing. And although my mom was very supportive of me being in sports, especially as a young child, she wasn't quite fond of me running. And it was just kind of like my mom would always say, you need to stop thinking with your feet and start thinking with your brain. So where I should be investing my time is like in school, or like in education, in getting a job, getting married, having kids, buying a home, supporting my family, and then like that being it. So it's kind of like the role that I'm supposed to be playing is, and I don't want to say the word playing, but yeah, I mean, the role that the identity that I'm supposed to uptake is different. And it's kind of like money isn't for hobbies. Then you start pulling on that string, and it's like, okay, well, then it's like the relationship with money, right? In our household, money was made to pay bills, to take care of your needs, and that's it. Right. So I think a lot like those for me, and those are the big barriers is like, if you don't see it, like I never saw anybody in my family run. I'm the only runner in my family. And I used to get made fun of, and my cousins used to call me after the movie Juno came out. They used to call me Bleeker.
You have the short shorts?
Yes, the short shorts. They used to call me Bleeker. It wasn't until, I got a scholarship, a college scholarship to run out of state, that my mom was like, "Oh, running's gonna help you pay for school."
Go running.
Yes, and even now, like our relationship is slightly growing. Or is growing and is mending, and we're healing. And my mom is starting to kind of, now I'm 36. She's starting to see like what running really means to me and what it has done for me, So I think those are kind of like the barriers. And again, I never saw anybody run. I just kind of, for me, I just knew that running was going to be a way out, especially a way out of where I lived. It's just populated by gangs. You're either in a gang, working in the farms, or you're getting pregnant. So it's kind of like the opportunities were very slim, So I think for me, those are the two big barriers at the moment, or I'm sure there are more, but that's kind of what my experiences have been.
Yeah, those are definitely generational, and it's hard to break those molds. I think, it's almost like case by case or family by family, as well as like community as well. Trying to help offset those differences and change that narrative, right?
How was it for you, Brian?
So
Were your parents pushing you for that, or the opposite?
Quite the opposite. So my super quick short story is that I'm adopted by an Italian family. So I grew up in white suburban America and had a ton of opportunity available to me to do whatever. I just was the brown kid that showed up to go run all the time. So I was adopted from a South American country. And so I looked the part, and I could feel half of what Melissa is expressing to some degree, but also, but never had that pressure on me. I was always able to go run, and it was always pushed. And I was like a prodigy kid runner. I was standout track star at a really young age. So it was always really pushed that I could make something of myself from running, which in turn, I guess inevitably, I'm here doing it still. But maybe not. Maybe this is what my mom thought I was going to do. Actually, she didn't think I was going to make a podcast.
That's funny. Yeah, it's interesting because for me, nobody in my family is athletes or sporty, and I was definitely, well, maybe a little bit as a kid, just like to be active when you're like 10 years old, but very quickly, how you're supposed to, it's not a money thing, it's more a time thing. How you're supposed to use your time is go to college, do a master, do a PhD, have a career. And was a little bit more the direction that I went. So that's why I'm a bit of a late bloomer, and now I'm intimidated. I'm the slow runner of the gang here. I did not go to college on a scholarship running or anything like that. I picked it up in my 30s, so yeah, late bloomer here. But yeah, that's interesting. And I think for me, the other aspect is that there was definitely it wasn't never directly said, but it's always like we're not gifted athletes. Like, we can't do that. We can't run a marathon. Like, Simon, your knees will, they won't hold up for something like that. Like, you're not gifted physically. Like, that's out of reach. Let that to like crazy people. And that kind of felt that was the way I felt for a very, very long time. And then one day I did marathon. I was like, oh, my knees are okay-ish, so I can take it apparently.
You kind of bust the myth that what they tell you for such a long time, and like, right, hurting your knees, it's bad for your bones. My sister used to say that if I run so much that I wouldn't be able to get pregnant or, have children. And I'm like, dude, like, where do you hear all this information from? Like,
that is so funny, because I got a side story on the same thread. But my wife and I had gotten married, and she had expressed to her mother, my mother-in-law, that we were going to start trying to have kids. And it was back when I was racing triathlon quite a bit. And my mother-in-law, I love her to death, but she literally came out and asked my wife, like, aren't you worried that he rides a bike too much? Like, he sits on that bike seat so often. Like, is he going to be able to have kids?
But there is a connection there, right? I heard
a little bit. The
saddle can. Anyway, it's not about it's about the mechanic of how you make babies. It's not necessarily the quality of the little swimmers.
Definitely on the thread.
Yeah, we're keeping it like to all public here, so we're using euphemism a lot. But yes,
so far it's still kid friendly.
Yeah, Brian, I'm glad to hear that. I was gonna call Katie and ask.
So I take it there are no profanity allowed on this podcast.
Oh, you can definitely do it.
Oh, I just wanted to.
Yeah. No,
sometimes
it's already marked as not kid friendly, like in the podcast world, and it'll automatically say.
For me, because French is my mother tongue, cursing in English just it doesn't feel bad. So even if I'm at work in a very serious meeting, I can drop an F-bomb without even thinking about it, and people will look at me funny. I'm like, I don't understand what's the issue here. I would never curse like that in French, but in English it's just like it's whatever. And my wife was really shocked the first time we met. Apparently I was cursing like a sailor, and later she told me, like, Simon, you were cursing a lot. I was like, was I? Maybe I was just nervous, but I don't remember that. We're still together.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, we all have our little potty mouths, and for me, it was like the F word, like, can symbolize like, oh man, having a rough day, but it also can be enthusiastic and provide so much more context to the situation or the story. So, I mean, I like cursing. I'm sorry.
I have kids at home, like a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old, and actually they hear a lot of cussing from me. I just cuss. I'm not cussing at them, and I'm not like using the word to like belittle them or anything like that. I just use cuss words, like Simon was saying. I just use it in my everyday language. I can sort of turn it on and off sometimes, but I try to at least.
Actually, I think I cursed in front of them, and Nora was like elbowing me, like, Simon, like.
Yeah. Everyone does it, and then I correct them. Oh no, they've heard that before. They're fine.
They're fine.
They understand better.
Yeah. They get it. They're not allowed to say it.
That's hilarious.
Either way, yeah.
Kudos to your kids.
So we were all at Leadville last summer. That's interesting, actually. How did it go for you, Melissa?
Oh, I chased every cutoff and I made it.
All right, so you made it.
And at some point you made a decision, right?
Yeah.
Well, and where was it? Well, the decision to finish this thing, like to get this thing done and like stop playing around with this cutoff game.
Oh.
And you came flying in. I mean, you didn't have much time left, but you came flying in with a mission. And and some rage.
I mean, it all started. What is it? Is it inbound Twin Lakes?
At 60?
What? Yeah, where I realized that the cut, like I was getting real close. I mean, it didn't just start there, but that was like the first. And I remember like sprinting in the dark, and they had like some spectators were like running alongside, like checking on the runners or just trying to cheer. And I just remember they're like, you have half a mile to run, like 10 minutes, like you have to go. And I was like, in trail running, when someone says like half a mile in 10 minutes is like, that can mean anything. Like that's not guaranteed. So I just remember like in a dead sprint, kind of like shaking. And in my mind, I just said, you know what, like whatever happens, but I'm like not gonna give up here. So next thing I know, my Mike, my partner, erupts from the dark. In short story, he's like running beside me now, and he's like, girl, you have to go. And I'm like, I don't have it in me anymore. And he's like, I don't care, you have to go. And I was like, where is the mat? And he's like, it's just ahead. And so I somehow dig deeper. And I made the cutoff with like 31 seconds.
Wow.
Oh my
And
gosh.
does that mean that you had to skip the aid station? Like you didn't have time to stop at Twin Lake?
No, so my crew, I guess because the aid station captain or the aid volunteers, they had told my crew, like, you can provide aid, but you have to provide aid on the other side of the timing mat. And the moment they saw me come through, my crew was there, ready to go to work. A volunteer walks over and they're like, you have 2 minutes. And at that, like, I was already like smoked, like my heart rate is high. I am like trying to gather my brain and just like gather myself. And as soon as that guy said, you have 2 minutes, I literally just stood up and I was like, give me my pack, let's just go. Like as if nothing happened. But then the moment you start climbing, and I was like, oh shit. I was like,
Yeah, that climb is rough.
Yeah, I mean, and since then, I was chasing every single cutoff. I made the next cutoff by like 5 minutes. I made not Queen Mary. Oh my God.
May
Queen.
May Queen. I made, as I was running down, I had my pacer Jess. And I did that section, like I previewed that section. I kind of remembered like, okay, it's going to get a little bit technical, right? It turns to a single track. And I told Jess, and I'm like, okay, once we hit the single track, it's going to be technical. And that's when Jess was like, I'm not good at technical. You leave and you just go. And she kept watching her watch. And next thing you know, once we hit the pavement, she's like, Mel, just go. She's like, leave me. And now I'm sprinting, and there's the queen of cutoffs. And I like vividly remember her hands. She's like, like pausing, raising her hands, like assuring me. She's like, you made it. But a part of me was like, I don't believe you. So once I crossed, I learned that I had made that cutoff with 3 minutes.
That's wild.
Yeah. So after that, I mean, I think I finished with like 20 minutes of.
I thought it was 47. I only because I was in your ultra sign up today because of the intro.
Oh, perfect. Then it was 47. So what was that? Like 12 minutes?
12 and a half minutes or something. Like
Yeah.
You're making up some time.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, to stay strong mentally for so long, because for people watching it, when you pass May Queen, it's probably 10 o'clock, I guess, or something like that. So you still have like a solid 14 hours to go of thinking all the time. I'm close to being cut right now, and you have to push. You can't just sit on the side of the trail and feel sorry for yourself. You don't have time for that. I mean, 5 minutes, it's wild. Yeah.
So
it's impressive.
when did in 21 we met Simon, right? We just talked about this last week or so. Yes,
Yeah,
in
I
21?
think something like that. 20, 21. Yeah, 21.
So
21. Yeah.
so I paced another athlete in 21, and we crossed the timing mat at May Queen with 13 miles to go with less than a minute. And she said, I'm just giving this to you like as a gift. She's like, but you got to get this runner home, right? So we do the quick change, no shoes, I mean, like kept everything on, right? I mean, basically just refilled the water bottles and gave them some calories and a ramen, and we started moving forward. And we were at the dump, which is near the, we were about 2 miles from the finish line, and the gun goes off. So we didn't make the finish. We were 98 miles in and did not finish the event. So I know it's tough, you know, and like he put everything out there to get to the May Queen cutoff, and like didn't have anything left in the tank, like you were saying back at Twin Lakes. The same thing, like here you're sprinting to this imaginary finish line, which isn't even a finish line. It's just mile 60. Like you're just sprinting to get to mile 60 in a time frame, and then you still have 40 more miles to go. So that's super impressive.
Yeah, and it's like, and now that I know, or now that I've been running, ultras, it's like you don't ever dead sprint in the middle of like 100-miler, right? Especially at Leadville, because of I'm come from sea level, and your heart rate just doesn't ever recover. So if your heart rate doesn't recover, then it starts, you start running into other issues like GI issues. Mainly GI issues. And that's kind of what happened with me, was I couldn't keep food down. I just kept throwing up. And poor Jess, she's like, try eating this, try eating that. And every time she like gave me something, like I just gagged. And finally I pulled over, and I was like, I think I need to throw up. Just give me a second. I actually like made myself throw up. And the moment I did that, like, I felt like, I could like reset. My heart kind of came back to life, because I think I wasn't working as hard to like keep everything in. I don't know. That's my theory in my mind, but.
Yeah, I'm not the expert on puking, honestly, but I did puke last year at Leadville. It was going all right, but it was a hot one also last year, right?
Very hot.
I think.
Yeah.
Was it Leanne got it on video? If you.
Yeah. So what happened, and it was pretty hot, and I would have been fine, but hot altitude was already double hitting, and then I took a salt pill, and it just got lodged in my throat, and then like everything came out. So I was doing fine. I was joking around. Leonna, our friend, was filming me at the aid station, and was like, there's nothing happening. Then she just stopped filming, and then 10 seconds later, I'm just puking nonstop because of that. And that knocked me out totally. I was super dehydrated, and that was just before climbing Hope Pass. So yeah, that was not great. I never really
that was at 40.
That. Huh?
That was outbound at Twin.
Yeah, that was at 40. So I was heading to Hope Pass.
Yeah, I thought it was inbound. Doesn't make it any better, but a little bit better.
Yeah, I think it would make it much better actually if it was just before the night, because then I was going up at altitude, climbing, sweating a lot, and then I just lost all the water that I was trying to drink so much. So yeah, it was not great.
So Mel, did you have any issues with the water station not being there on the way outbound?
No.
That didn't affect you?
No, I don't even think I like paid attention to it. I was trying to get up.
This table between
Mini Albert.
Mini Albert aid station was not there on the way outbound, and there was like everyone around me was freaking out about it, and I had, I don't know, a sip of water left, and it was 3 more miles to Twin Lakes, and I just thought, just sip on my sip for 3 more miles. I mean, that's all you could do. But everyone else around me was just like it was a catastrophe. Like there was like a guy just standing there like waiting. I'm like, they're not coming. Like no one's gonna bring water. Like you should probably start moving forward. So I didn't know if you had an issue.
No, I don't think I paid attention, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have to rely on it, that's good. I think that's one of the tips for Leadville, is you shouldn't rely on that aid station. It's not even an aid station, but it's just a water station.
And then I carried with me like 2 liters of water.
Damn.
So I mean, and that's kind of what I've been training with. So I kind of have that mentality already. It's like you can't really depend on anybody, I guess. So.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. There's another race I did. I'm not gonna name it because I don't like to trash race, but that one was in the desert, and it was supposed to be 4.5 mile, then 4.5 mile, and there's just a water jug in the middle, but it was not there. And like that one, I was relying on that one. It was the middle of the day. It was super hot, like 90 or 100, and I'm like, I'm sure some people DNF because of that. Like there's no question. If you need the water, you can push through. Like you're not gonna die, but it's just setting you backwards so much that there's just no coming back. And that's what happened at Leadville for some people, I think. But Brian, so you're saying it's inbound. It was not outbound. I thought it was outbound also, that they didn't have anything, but I could be wrong.
No, outbound definitely. Like within 35 miles or like mile 35-ish, 37 or whatever that is, was not there. It was actually there on the way home. It was there in the middle of the night on the way home. It was there. But then the story came out in the wash, not to bag on Leadville or to drag this one out, but the story came out in the wash that the gentleman went out there in the pickup truck, old timer Leadville guy, goes out there to go put these jugs in this table out there, and he like is slow rolling the truck, and he rolls over like a hornet's nest or something, and like it stirs like in the ground, like on the road, and it stirs all these hornets out, and so like he had to like basically drive away for safety.
Oh shit.
Yeah, but I was like, I don't know, but 800 runners with no water, that's probably a safety issue too. Maybe just roll up the windows and make your way to the aid station. I don't know, but I wasn't there, so I don't know.
It'll be in the handbook next year.
Yeah.
For this year.
Speaking of this year, what's coming up next for you? I didn't see your name on the Leadville list for this year.
No, I'm taking it easy this year. I had such a big year last year, and I want to say that I'm still recovering. But I'm only signed up for one race. Well, two races, I guess. But my big race is coming up in May, which is Cruel Jewel in Georgia, Blue Ridge, Georgia. And that's kind of like my big race because I had like such a big year last year, and I had the help of so many great people. My partner really, and my friends that came out to pace me and stuff. This year I kind of want to keep my season open and just make it about giving back. So being able to crew, being able to pace, being able to fulfill volunteer opportunities here in my local community, at my local races, and out of state. So I'm just kind of like playing it by ear until I can, emotionally gather myself.
It's awesome. Cruel Jewel is one, but you didn't mention the second.
Oh, and the second one is just like a build up to Cruel Jewel. It's a local race put on in Lake Paris, California, called the race director is Machete Madness, I believe. So machete. I don't know, machete. How do you say machete in English? Is that it?
Machete.
Oh, that's.
It's close. It translates the same. I mean, I understood it. I don't know if Simon. Did you understand it, Simon?
Yeah, I understood.
Okay.
Actually, I think I heard of that race. So.
And it's 100K. So it's I think this will be the second year that they do it. And it's like a loop. So it'll just be a build up for my race in May.
Yeah, I mean, Cruel Jewel is kind of hard.
So I've heard.
Yeah.
Have you been there, Simon?
Yeah, I did the 50 last year. Or was it last year? Yeah, last year. I don't think it was a bad year though. I think that the heat there can be pretty bad, and it's kind of humid heat, which it really gets to you. But we were lucky in the sense that it rained, so it was really not too bad. And I mean, it was 50 also, which makes it easier. But there's definitely a lot of elevation gain. You're never really taking a break. It's not like you're a 100 bad, but it's. Yeah, I mean, you probably know more than me, but I think it's 30,000 feet, maybe?
Yeah, it's 30,000 feet to climb. And It's 103 miles.
In Georgia? Like in
Yeah.
Appalachian, I guess? I would imagine it's in Appalachians. How did this come onto your radar? I mean, you're obviously like a whole different coast. So it's
I have terrible friends.
peer
That's how.
pressure.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of started with my friend Andrew. And he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna do this race." And I looked it up and I was like, that sounds so rad. I was like, "I'll do it with you." It's just kind of like one of those things where I was like, "I'll do it with you." Fast forward, it was something I said. I didn't really think that it was gonna be something that would come up later. And Andrew texted me and he's like, "Hey, it's that time to sign up. Registration's open." So I was like, "Oh shit, all right." So I am committed. It'll be nice. We're not we don't plan on like running with each other or anything, but it's just nice to know that we'll be out there together and splitting the cost of an Airbnb. So
Nice.
yeah. Simon, did you do like a Cruel Jewel like recap on like YouTube or something?
Yeah, you should check out my channel for sure. Running with
I
Simon.
actually watched it.
Okay.
Yeah, so okay. As you were talking, I was like, "Oh shit, it's the guy from YouTube."
I am the guy from YouTube. Yes, that is me.
And I did watch your thing on Cruel Jewel, and I was like, okay, gave me an idea of what I'm getting into, and that's kind of what I remembered was like it was raining. I really liked your video on that. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thanks. Yeah, and what surprised me with the course was that it's a lot of elevation gain, and you're going to be pooped out for sure. But it was not as technical as I'm used to on the East Coast. I'm used to East Coast running being trails that's just stupid technical and just, these big rocks that you can't really run without maybe really hurting yourself bad. But that was not an issue at all. So when it was downhill, it was runnable, so you could really make up some time.
Okay.
I was feeling good enough also to do it, which I guess after 100 miles, not so much, but yeah. And they have shower also at the finish line, unless they changed that, which was it was a nice perk. The start and the finish is kind of at this, I guess it was like some, I don't know, summer camp or something there. There's a little lake and there's a little lodge and there's bunk bed that you can just go and sleep, which I definitely used after my race. And then there's shower also, which I definitely used. So when I jumped in the plane the next day, I was actually not smelly. So that was actually really nice. But if you have a place, it doesn't matter so much, I guess.
But that's still so nice. Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
all right.
It's a nice perk. Yeah, it was a great race, and they're really nice people. The race director, they were very friendly, very nice, very funny. I'm supposed to go back, but maybe not this year. Maybe next. You let me know how it goes if it's worth doing.
I'll keep you posted.
Yeah.
So
how much cursing you do?
So Mel, I can relate to Rebel in the fact that I've been running in an event and and people have said to me, "Hey, it's Brian," and I'm like, "Hey, how do I know you?" And they're like, "You're in Simon's video from Uray."
That's funny.
I mean, your dog is famous too, Brian.
Yep, she's here somewhere. She's sleeping.
Yeah, Bailey.
Back here in my study.
Behind the wall.
Hey, hey, I wanted to talk a little bit about recovery. You guys want to talk about recovery? I think you actually even mentioned it was almost a good segue, Mel, that you're still kind of recovering from maybe last season, which was the Leadville 100 and the Moab 240, and just kind of like getting the conversation going about recovery and seeing what you guys do for recovery. So Simon races a lot, Mel. I know you saw his video and you recalled that just now, but Simon has collectively twice as many 100-mile finishes as us combined.
Wow.
So he races quite a bit. He just raced this past weekend and he raced 60K the weekend before that. And so not that the focus is on Simon, but in general, I just wanted to like discuss recovery and what that looks like and how you guys are dealing with it, and myself as well.
FYI, the focus is on Simon. He's in the center of our screen. And now I know he's a famous YouTuber, so.
I'm not famous. I'm not famous. I'm not actually. That's funny. When I was at Black Canyon, someone said, "Oh, you're Simon. You're famous." And like Billy Yang was in the area. I was like, "Dude, like Billy Yang is famous. I'm just someone that some people know my name. It's not exactly the same."
You're a micro influencer.
Yes, exactly.
Micro influencer.
I'm famous enough for some people to know my name, but not famous enough to have free running shoes. So that's the next step, is when I can convince Salomon to send me some shoes, or Hoka. That would be then, yeah.
So that we were watching Jackpot, or I was. I mean, no one else in my house was, but I was watching Jackpot Ultras this weekend, and Simon was there. And it's the 100-mile road championship, or 100-mile national championship is what I actually should call it. And the 100-miler super competitive fast guys raced on Friday, and then they have the auxiliary 100-miler on Saturday, which is a 2-mile loop with a little more turns in it, as opposed to the 1-mile loop that's like USATF, like sanctioned and certified and measured out with a wheel, and these cones are all on this special pattern and all this. It's pretty high tech. But I'm watching the finish, and somebody shouts you out, Simon. They said, "Where's Simon?" And they responded, they're like, "Simon starts tomorrow. Tomorrow is Simon's race. Tonight we're talking about these people."
Yeah, and then like the stream went from like 5,000 people watching to like 2 people, I'm sure.
Well, I was one of those 2. I still watched it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even know they had the stream for the day when I was racing. Honestly, I was like, that's kind of boring. Like, all the cool people were yesterday. They're done now. So, oh well.
They kept it on, but they didn't do a live. They kept like the live stream up, but no commentary or talking. It was just the camera, just the finish line basically, and watching people come through the loop. But with all that said, Simon, so you did race Jackpot 100 this weekend.
Yeah.
And today is Thursday. What have you been doing for recovery this week? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, it's my pretty standard. At this point, I take about a week after a race to kind of feel better. But it really goes by phase. So for a week, I definitely don't run full blast, but I might include some active recovery. Right now, I do a lot of cycling when I do that. Eating a lot, sleeping a lot, just really providing kind of the nutrients and the time for my body to heal back. And for me, my biggest issue is definitely my Achilles, that are pretty tight after a race, and that takes like 3-4 days to get back to normal. So walking is kind of difficult before then. And then the muscle is massaging. I don't go to anyone. I just kind of do it myself, like trying to activate the blood flow. And that's plenty enough. After a week, I'm able to go back to training, but I'm never fully, racing 100-mile 4 weeks after another 100-mile. It's not enough time. And I don't know for you, Brian, like last summer, but because you kind of did that. And for me, it's clear that my performance is not the same when I do that, as opposed to if I'm having like a serious, like 3, 4, 5 months block of no racing, because it's destructive. Like there's no other way to say it. You don't train for 100-mile, running 100-mile. Like, this is too destructive for it. It's doable, but for me, like my Leadville time is slower now by 4 or 5 hours than it used to be, and some other race that I could compare, I'm also slower, significantly slower. My jackpot this weekend, I'm very happy, by the way. My time was 21:15, which is really fast for me. So I was like, yes, I still got it. But the equivalent race that I did well rested for that was when I raced by myself around the stadium, and like that was a 16-hour, and that's a huge difference between being well rested but okay, I raced 100K the week before, so like that's my excuse. But honestly, I was feeling pretty good, and right now I'm feeling pretty solid. So I'll line up for my next race. But what about you, Melissa? How did you do after your race? Especially, you were heading towards a Moab 240, which you gotta be back for that.
Let's see. It's kind of I've kind of followed the same pattern that you just kind of mentioned. I feel like now that I'm older, right? I came from racing the road, and I was very stubborn. Totally neglected taking care of my body, totally neglected recovery. And now that I'm a lot older, I've been doing a better job with like being in tune with my body. And I always just kind of like say it like this, like, gonna do whatever my body wants to do. And like after Leadville, I was craving Taco Bell so bad. And I had me some Taco Bell. Like this was like on the drive from Leadville back to California.
I mean, real question. I don't want to interrupt you, but is it okay for you to eat Mexican food from Taco Bell? Like that's acceptable?
I mean, I love their crunchy tacos and their Mexican pizza.
It's no judgment. I'm just trying to understand.
I mean, it's not like it's my mom's cooking, but I mean, I just do what my body wants and listen to the cravings, right? If my body wants Taco Bell, like hell, we went to Taco Bell and I had like 4 tacos and then I had like 2 Mexican pizzas. And then I walked to the gas station across the street and I bought myself a big old Dr. Pepper. So is that something that I would typically do like on a day-to-day? No, but like that's what my body was craving. So that's kind of what I did. That's what I gave it. So between sleeping and eating and just kind of movements, light movements, and keeping the blood flow. I don't ever do a massage immediately after my races. I like to give it about a week or 2 weeks until my body's like not sore. I feel like I'd be doing more damage to the muscles by going and getting a massage when I'm like still very inflamed. So I'll get a massage and then get ready to start back up again. Because Brian was coaching me last year, and I can't really recall what we did within the 7 weeks. I mean, after I got back from Leadville, I think we took a solid like week and a half, like to really build up. Not that I wasn't doing any running, but we weren't doing any intervals or anything like at high intensity. It was pretty low impact. I'm sorry, not low impact, low intensity stuff. I mean, with 7 weeks, there isn't anything else. There's no aerobic. I'm not going to develop anything fancy to my aerobic engine within that time frame. So
yeah, I mean, I think that's a great point. It's like people get almost nervous to not get back to training immediately, but like seriously, like if you're delaying, like if I say I'm going to take a week and then I take 10 days, like 3 days of training is not going to change anything. But if you get back too quickly, if you don't listen to yourself, if something is wrong, you can really mess yourself up. And now we're talking several weeks or even months to get back from just doing an interval immediately after a race. That's just recipe for disaster.
Yep. Because then, like, I mean, you're right. Like, you get injured, you have 7 weeks, right? You get injured. Okay, then what? I mean, you don't know how long that injury is going to take to heal. And then you're leading up to the race. And so instead of tapering, you're still trying to heal your injury. And then you're just showing up beat up and bruised.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I always say it's better to come in a race undertrained than injured.
Yeah.
And for me, it has happened between race. I have not run at all. I just was trying to rest, trying to heal my like semi injury so it doesn't get worse. And sure, it's not great that I don't train for 3-4 weeks in a row, but I mean, you come in a race injured, that's just not going to help. I wonder if, and I think you had a great point also about being old. By the way, you're the youngest here. So we're both feeling bad when you say that, but so thank you very much. But I think, we see a lot of older ultra runner, like that's definitely an old men's sports. I guess, yeah, well, I mean, women too, but for me, that's an expression actually. But I think part of that is like, we're not as ego kind of driven, and it's kind of okay to be like, hey, like, I think it's gonna rain because my knee hurt. Like, I think we're at the age where that's okay to say. We're not like, hey, like, I'm gonna run right away because I'm so I mean, some of them are like that, but to get injured. But being able to listen to yourself, trust biology a little bit. Like, through evolution, my body has evolved to say, I want Taco Bell, and like, that's my body being wise. Like, that's exactly what I need right now. It's not being lazy that I'm sleeping 1 hour more than usual right now. It's my body saying, like, we have to build back right now. Like, you're totally destroyed, dude. And listening to that and being in tune with that, it's hard to describe. Like, you can't really plan that on paper, but if you listen to yourself, you can do it very well. So
yeah. And I mean, like, to tug on like being in tune with your body. Like even during my experience with Moab, when it came to nutrition, we pulled into, what is the aid station with the turtle, the tortoise?
I don't know. Base camp.
There's an aid station with a tortoise, which is very early on.
It's like
And
58 or something like that. It's called base camp.
So anyways, I saw my friend, I'm primarily like plant-based. I like to say I'm a flexitarian. I'm like 80% I eat plant-based. So going into Moab, right, like I had my own nutrition. I kind of knew what the aid stations would be serving in terms of like vegetarian and vegan options. But I saw one of my friends eating like a burger. And I was like, I'm here eating this pancake and I'm looking at his burger, right? And these hamburgers aren't anything special. They're not like grade A beef. They're fucking frozen patties from Costco or something. So the moment like my mouth is like watering and I'm watching him eat this burger and I'm like, do I do it? Do I, like my body is now like salivating, like I'm like, I've got to have that patty. So as I left the aid station, I took a meat patty with cheese in a Ziploc bag. And the moment we left and we started hiking out to Lockhart or whatever, hiking, running, whatever you want to call it, jogging, schlogging, I took a bite of that meat patty and it was the best freaking thing. I didn't experience any GI issues. My stomach didn't go sour. Like I didn't feel like garbage. And the next few aid stations, that's kind of like what I did. I was like just craving a quesadilla or a meat patty with cheese wrapped in a tortilla with avocado. Like that was my jam until I was like, my body was like, man, I don't want that anymore. So, I mean, you can't plan for like being in tune with your body, and you can't really plan a race on saying, I'm just going to listen to my body and hope it can get me to the finish line, because sometimes that's not how it works. It just happens, I guess. Just got to have that as an option.
Yeah.
Going back to the recovery side, and thinking about just both of your comments and like prioritizing sleep and low impact, low intensity stuff. I mean, I think I could even like just kind of like just dig a little bit deeper. I don't sleep well after an event from muscle soreness usually. So, if it's possible, I like to try to get an extra nap in, during the day, like, so that's extra sleep if possible. Going to sleep early, trying to stay in bed longer, even if it's just laying down on the couch and like just being in a prone position to let the feet drain a little bit, because if I stay up for a couple hours, my feet start to swell up after these events. So that type of situation. As far as nutrition goes, the same things. I give myself grace and be kind and mindful of what my body's craving to a certain degree, but I also can like think of like December, where I eat every holiday cookie put in front of me, and so I can get out of hand with it. So I understand that as well. So I try to offset it with a banana. Like if I'm gonna eat crap, I'm gonna eat a banana with it at least. I try to justify it. And then like movement, right? Like I know I know what we did, Mel, because I'm pretty stereotypical that I do it with most of the athletes that I work with. But I'm sure that we did like walks, like just get outside and walk for 2 miles, 1.5 miles, like 15 minutes. Maybe it's on your lunch break, get off the computer and just kind of like walk and stretch. And it's not even about walking. It's just really about movement and getting like blood flow to those areas so that you can help flush that garbage out of your legs, out of your feet, maybe just feel a little bit better. So it's really not about, exercise by any means. I wouldn't call it that, but it's really just about movement and keeping fluid. So I usually walk like 2 or 3 times. I'll just walk down to the mailbox and back, which is like a 1/4 mile each way, a few times during the day. There's nothing at my mailbox. The mailman doesn't come 3 times a day. So, but I do walk there for 3 to 4 times a day just to kind of like just get moving. And I'll find a reason to go walk with the kids or, whatever it is. But
you know who doesn't appreciate recovery time is Rebel, because
yeah,
he doesn't understand that I need to like nap an extra 90 minutes or I don't want to run. He does not appreciate recovery.
That's so cute.
What about foot care, Simon? Do you have any? You said Achilles. You touched on that, but what about the feet
I'm good with
themselves?
blisters, actually. I'm probably not the best person with that. I did make a video about it, but I know our friend Mark really has like some pretty evolved ways of taking care of his feet, and it seems to work very well for me. It's just prevention. I barely ever have blisters, and when I do, I just leave them alone, and that's it.
I guess my question for you, Simon, is okay, so since you race so frequently, like, you're saying it's just prevention in between. So in between your races, what is your foot care routine then?
Oh yeah, no, that's what I mean. The answer is no. It's prevention during the race. So just like having the right sock and like dipping my feet, and having the right shoes. But I rarely have issues. So I know I'm not. I have like golden feet basically. I know I'm lucky with that. But do you have like a routine yourself?
I do. I get a pedicure every 3.5 weeks. I maintain my cat. I know it sounds so simple, but
Do they give you a discount for like less toenails?
I have all of my toenails. Thank you very much. And kind of like Simon, look, I'm gonna be real with you. When I was racing, like when I was running marathons and doing like road stuff, like I was constantly like getting blisters and I was constantly losing my toenails. And then I started running ultras, and oh my God, it's like my feet are so beautiful and they are like just like loving the dirt. Last year at the end of Moab in December, I thought it would be a great idea to run a road marathon. I ran CIM, and I walked away and I lost a fucking toenail. So generally, my foot care routine is just a pedicure every 3 weeks to 3.5 weeks. I maintain my calluses, and I lube my feet before my runs, or mainly my long runs. And then I wear my good socks, and then I make sure that my shoes they fit. So
let's go into that for a second, in a second. But I know we just talked about our friend Mark, and he's got this pretty ritualistic thing, and I don't know if it's even going to show up because of my background. Fixing Your Feet by John Von Hoff. I just showed it up in the screen for those that are listening. It's called Fixing Your Feet, and it's a book by John Von Hoff. And Mark and I both swear by it. I actually have little bookmarks in it. You could see good little sections that have been like thumbnailed and go back and look at. I know Mark and I literally ran together and had conversations about this book. So I know that that's where Mark gets quite a bit of his information, as well as his own personal experiences with his own feet. But this book is really detailed. I don't have any connection to the book other than I don't know who turned me onto it or heard about it somewhere. But I recommend it to, if you're having feet issues, if you're listening to this, if you're watching this and you're the person with those feet issues, because I don't think the three of us are probably the best people for this conversation, maybe. Because I'll tell you my experience with feet is that I swear I have a jungle foot still. Like I swear that I still have a South American jungle foot. I rarely wear socks when I run in my shoes. I usually pull out the inserts of my shoes, and I could wear a brand new pair of shoes off the shelf and go run a marathon in them without any issues. So I think my feet are just really that. I do lose toenails, and I do have issues. I've gotten blisters. I've done all those things, but my feet are pretty tough and pretty weathered. I have put on socks at Indian Creek, I want to say, mile 72 of Moab, and wore them the rest of the way home. But most races, I don't wear socks. At Leadville, I usually won't wear socks till after the water crossing inbound, so mile 60. I'll put on a new pair of shoes and a new pair of socks, or a pair of socks and a new pair of shoes, and continue home for the last 40. So it sounds like we're not the best for this conversation, even though I plugged it in there. But there was an additional question to the foot care one, as to what are the perfect socks. And so Mel has the perfect socks for her. I don't wear socks, so I'll let Mel go first.
I love Stance Performance socks. They have been like number one. I like to match when I run. I am that person from like my buff to my top to my shorts to my hat to my glasses. I like to match. Okay. So what I love about Stance is that they're just like fun patterns and fun colors. And then, I mean, their socks have just always been wonderful to me. And then another pair of socks that I have that I own are Features and Darn Tough. So, but mainly my main jam is Stance. I wish they would like, Simon, you want shoes? I want socks. Okay, so
I want socks too, by the way. If anyone is listening, I want socks. But yeah, and I agree with your choice actually. So for me, the Darn Tough would be kind of my, if I wanna go out to a fancy place, like that's what I'm gonna wear to impress people with my fancy socks, the Darn Tough. And they have nice one too, but otherwise I have some pretty generic one, and I am 100% with you. It's important that matching, I don't know, like I'm a guy, so I don't understand matching, but I understand style, and they have to be stylish. Like they have to be colorful. They have to like have, people do tell me very frequently, dude, I love your socks. And the only way they will not say that is if I grow a big mustache, then all of a sudden they only see my mustache. But if I don't have a mustache, they see my socks, and that's really important. And yeah, it's really important. But the one that I do use for blisters is inside of my socks very often, especially if I use kind of these more generic brand of socks, is I'll have a liner socks, which is kind of, I think it's Fox River, or I can't remember, but any brand would do. And it's a very thin fabric, and it's meant to create a layer between the two. And that has definitely helped me. That's something I learned more from hiking, where for me, hiking, I would be more prone to blisters. I don't know why, actually. You would think it's the opposite, but maybe blisters, I don't know. Hiking, the way I walk or something, or I'm more prone to crossing river. But having these extra socks and then taping my feet is plenty enough.
Yeah, I know like some people swear by like Injinjis. I have been gifted a few pairs of Injinjis. They're just like, to me, I'm like, they're like all right, they're fine.
It just felt weird for me, everyone I know that's used them, they're like, I don't have blisters anymore. I was like, that's great, but that feels weird. So
it does feel weird. And then I had another friend gift me like generic Injinjis, and I wore like the generic ones, and that's when I kind of felt like a little bit of the rubbing, and I'm like, okay, these socks I cannot wear for like running. I just wanted to wear them because I had them. So don't get the knockoff Injinjis.
I wear I was gifted a pair of Injinjis as well, the toe socks or whatever, those things. And for a guy that doesn't wear socks, like they were just completely weird to me. Like I could not, like Simon, I couldn't wrap my head around it. And it actually felt like it was like unnaturally like splaying my toes just a little too much. Like I know you want some splay in your toes, and that's the new the most recent thing in the last decade in running, or a wide toe box, or your toes will naturally splay. But I think they also want to naturally rebound, and the Injinjis wouldn't let me rebound. They were like fixed in this one spot, and I couldn't let them rebound. So they didn't work for me either. But really, I think, I mean, just like I think of shoes, people always say, what shoes do you run in? And I'm like, I run in the shoes that are the best for me. And it sounds like you guys have like the choices that are the best for you in socks. And so I would say that the same would apply like for somebody listening, like try a couple of the socks that we just mentioned, figure them out, see what works best for you. Simon, I know, swears by the inner liner, and Mel likes what she likes, and try those options out in a process, and see what you can create for yourself, because there are a lot of socks in the world, and there are a lot of shoes in the world, because there's a lot of different feet in the world, and just finding what fits best for you is the better option.
Yeah, I think someday we'll have to talk about shoes, because I don't have strong opinion, but I do think that we often think like almost like there's one type of shoes you should like. I was like, dude, what's the race you're gonna do? Like that matters to me. If it's gonna be a desert race, if it's gonna be in the mud, if it's gonna be on the road, like I would use different shoes. Like these are different tools, different terrain. You have to adjust. But let's yeah, we don't have the time today, but
I
yeah.
want to
yeah,
be.
we're running.
I want to be a part of that shoe conversation because I feel the same exact way.
Yeah, yeah. Shoes are really touchy. It's always a hot topic. And I worked in a shoe store for a minute. I managed a shoe store here just in my local town, and we sold like over 300 pairs of shoes. Most of them were like super high-end designer women's shoes. So not my wheelhouse, but we did have a little running component, a little corner of the store that they put some shoes out for me to sell. Um, and it was interesting just to kind of see, because people would come in and like, oh, you're the guy that runs really far, and what are you wearing? And I'm like, well, I wear the shoe that's best for me. They just wanted to buy the shoe that I was wearing, and I was like, that's not a great option for you. It might be, but it might not be. So
Yeah.
Hey, Simon, let's roll with the coach's corner, because Mel
Yeah,
is
I
a
mean, I think
coach
we
and I'm
basically
a
asked all
coach.
of them except one, right?
Yeah, I
So
think we knocked out some the first two or the last two either way. But
yeah,
I think
well,
we have
Coach
one that
Brian,
doesn't.
Coach Brian, I have a question for you from Tracy B. Hi, Tracy B. So the question is, and of course, Melissa, you're welcome to answer also, but we'll start with Brian. So when should I wear a vest as opposed to using just a hand bottle, a big, small vest? Is there a trade-off between carrying the extra weight of the vest and not stopping as much, or not stopping as much at the aid station?
It's a great question, Tracy, and I appreciate the question. I think I just heard the answer a second ago, like when we talked about shoe choice, about like what is the course that you're on and what is the terrain look like? What are your time expectations just to be from aid station to aid station? And how long are those gaps going to be? Mel and I both have experience running the Moab 240. Those aid stations are 24 miles apart sometimes. And so there's required gear, of course, but having all the gear that you might need for 24 miles in an ultra that's pretty dang slow, that could take it to 18 hours, which means daylight, nighttime, and all those things. So my 10,000-foot view, Tracy, would be that you really need to study the course that you're looking to do and figure out what the constraints are. Is it a loop course? Is it just a 5-mile loop course? Can you get away with a little bit with just a handheld and maybe just a little fanny bag and just a gel or two for a 5-mile loop? Or are the aid stations 20 miles apart and super mountainous and rugged and no outlets for any other services? So maybe so look into the event that you're doing and see what the constraints are. Mel?
Oh, I think you hit it. The tooth with the hammer. Wait, the nail with the hammer. Hammer with the nail. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? I honestly think it's all about what the demands and the requirements are that race. Like even on my slow days, I like to run with my vest. But for me, it's kind of just like a comfort thing. It's a place to put my phone. It's a place to put my keys and my wallet, carry water for me and the dog. So yeah, I think it all just depends on like what you're doing, where you're going, and what makes sense on the terrain and the demands and the environment of what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, I think for me, like we obsess a lot with weight sometimes, and it's like, oh, I want to save the weight, and yeah, if you want to win the race, I guess that really matters a lot. If not, you will never go wrong actually taking the vest as opposed to just going with the handheld. But just having the handheld, and because of that, potentially it's a mountain race, and say I don't need my rain jacket, or well, then I don't need the vest. And next thing you know, you're on the ridge and it's super cold, it's windy, it's raining, there's a thunderstorm, and that's just really bad. So at least you have all the gears with the vest. But myself, I do like to not have it. If I can get away with not using it, I have my little, I think it's Aspire waist belt, and I just love that. I think for me, the main reason actually to do it is not necessarily the weight, but if it's a race that is hot, I like to not have the vest kind of trapping all the sweat and just being able to kind of cool down a little bit easier. So that was really true for Javelina, for example. I really like that I was not using my vest, and I'll definitely do that again. And the point that she had about aid station swap, I think we also obsess a lot about how much time we spend at aid station, and it's true. Like, you need to get out as soon as you can, but taking extra 30 seconds won't really change much. Something that you can do, though, that has worked pretty well for me is if you can have a swap vest, and especially if you have a crew, you can do that. Instead of just like thinking about like, okay, like now it's the night, I need my puffy jacket, I need my rain jacket. It's just Nora, my wife, is like here you go, like that's the vest you take now, and then I just give it away, put it, and then I can go directly. So if you're really worried about losing 30 seconds, that's a way to do it. But the key advantage to that, though, is for me, again, it's not the time. It's when I was at home and I had time to think and be smart about what I would need for the night. I took time to put the things in the bag, and I will not forget my gloves, or I will not forget to have gels, and I will not forget to put water. It's already all there, avoiding the rush of the situation of like, I need to do this, I need to do that. So, yeah.
I think my last thought on it is it's again to go back to the sock deal, right? Mel likes her socks. Simon has his process, and for you, Tracy, or anyone listening that has the same question, I think the same process applies. I've been ultra running since 2010 or 2009. I ran my first race in 2010, and we all ran with these handhelds. I had two handhelds at one time, two full 500 milliliter bike bottles that were strapped to my hands. And at the time we didn't know any better, or I didn't know any better. And, vests evolved and the world came around and everyone thought it was better. But my arms would get sore from carrying two bottles for hours upon hours. And I really didn't eat much because my hands were already full with two bottles in my hand. So I think it's worth doing those things in training on your long weekend runs or wherever your long run is, to figure out if the bottle's a good option for you or not, to figure out if you like the weight like Simon does on the waist pack with two bottles on his waist pack, or if you like the security of a vest like Mel was just saying, the weight of the vest and the security of it. It almost, I mean, it's in most environments or in any environment, it adds an extra layer of clothing almost on top of what you're wearing. So in a hot day, you don't want it on, but in other situations, at nighttime, it's another security blanket and has all your creature comforts in it. And so as soon as the vest came out, I got rid of those handhelds. I mean, as quick as possible. My arms were so sore, and I just never would get the right amount of nutrition because I could never figure out how to open a granola bar with two water bottles or a water bottle in each hand. I just couldn't ever put food in my mouth.
Yeah, and you're not a pole user, but someone who uses pole also, that's a factor. That if you
another issue, totally.
Yes, you were not wanting to use poles at ERA 100, which I think was kind of funny. You did use them at the end, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It took me 40 miles, but
he's stubborn.
I mean, we could probably dive down this hole as well. It probably should be on the list. We have the shoe episode, we have the pole episode.
Poles.
Poles are the same thing. I think you got to use them efficiently, and if you're not using them efficiently, they're just extra weight, right? So if you're not pulling properly with those poles and sticking them in the ground and using them like a Nordic skier would to propel your body forward. I see a lot of people, at these events. We see them all. I'm sure you guys see them too. But they just look like they're tapping the ground in front of them. And I'm like, gosh, I mean, that's just extra weight. Like, just put the pole away or give it away to somebody and just walk with your hands, because at some point the pole isn't doing anything for you.
Well, but the pole is for the style also. So you look very professional. It's to poke other runners. So if you don't want someone passing you, you can just, so there's a use to it.
In training, you could use it to stick in the mountain biker spokes. You can just stick it into the wheel.
Oh, I'm going to remember that for next time. Oops, sorry.
Do not hold me liable for this, mountain biker.
It was Brian's idea.
I don't need someone doing that when I'm mountain biking. I'm going to fall by myself.
I was going to say, you're more than capable of finding the ground on your own means.
Yes, I know where the ground is, and the ground knows where I am. So, yes. All right.
Well, I appreciate you guys listening, coming on, and talking all things ultra. I'd love to hear your story, Belle. Where can we find you at in the world, in the social media realm?
You can find me and Rebel on on Instagram at la.direccion. And you can catch up with my shenanigans on my website, which is ultrawithmel.com. And there you can just learn about my coaching and then read about my blogs, or not about my blogs, but read my blogs. And that's kind of my only two outlets there. I'm not down with the tick and the talk, or the ticky-talky. So the talkies, whatever. Anyways, that's a wrap.
The tic-tac?
The tic-tac, yeah.
That's what I told my daughter. She's like, oh, she sends me all these TikToks. And I'm like, I don't tic-tac.
I don't tweet either, or what is it, X?
X, yeah.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. What's up, Simon? What's up this weekend? Anything?
Resting.
Okay, that's good.
Resting, yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks so much, guys. I appreciate you, and we'll be in touch.
All right. Thank you. Bye, guys.
Great meeting you. Bye.
Bye.